The drop that changed everything. The Harmattan heat was wicked that afternoon. Not ordinary heat. The kind that felt like it was sitting on people's shoulders, pressing them down. The type that made the air itself look tired. 12-year-old Henry Omerager wiped sweat from his forehead as he walked home from school along the dusty Benin road. His shirt clung to his back, and every breath tasted like dust and sunlight. Even the Okada riders looked exhausted, moving slowly like their bikes had fallen sick. Children were too tired to play football. Dogs lay under cars, panting. Even the trees looked thirsty. Henry kicked at a small stone. God, Abig, just small rain. When he reached Mama Sios's compound, the first thing he did was drop his school bag like it weighed 5 bags of cement. The compound was quiet. The only sound was the buzzing of a generator coming from the neighbor's house. Mama Asiasa sat on her wooden chair peeling mangoes. Her wrapper was tied neatly, and her gray hair was wrapped in a scarf. "Welcome, my pickin'," she said with a warm smile. "He'd one kill person today." Henry nodded and collapsed into a plastic chair. "Grandma, I feel like I'm melting," she chuckled. "Naso armatandeido. But remember what I always tell you, Heat. No day lasts forever." Henry sighed. "Yeah, rain will come when it's ready." Mama Asiasa paused, her eyes softening with something he couldn't read. "You never know," she said. "Sometimes rain day listen." Henry didn't understand what she meant, but he was too tired to ask. After eating some mango slices, he went to the back of the compound, where a huge iroko tree towered above the house. He always liked sitting under it. Its shade felt cooler, quieter. The leaves were dark green and heavy, as if they held stories inside them. Henry sat on the ground, leaning against the trunk. He closed his eyes and imagined what rain would feel like right now. Cool, soft, refreshing, he whispered without thinking. Abig, just small rain. A breeze brushed past his ear. Henry opened his eyes. The trees were still. No wind anywhere, but the air around him felt suddenly cooler. He frowned. Ha! Then plop, a cold droplet of water landed on his arm. Henry jumped so fast he nearly tripped over a broken bucket. What? He looked up. The sky was completely clear. No clouds, just deep blue stretching into forever. But then, ploplet! Another droplet. Then another. The ground around him darkened as little circles of wet soil appeared in the dust. What is happening? He stepped away from the tree, and immediately the rain stopped hitting him. He stepped back under the tree, and the rain started again. A tiny circle, no bigger than a small umbrella, was raining only on him. The rest of the compound remained bone dry. Henry's heart raced. This wasn't normal rain. It wasn't even possible. He waved his hand. The rainfall followed the movement. He stepped to the left. The rain followed. He stepped to the right. Still followed. Jesus Christ, he whispered. His breath shook. His palms felt cold despite the heat. The air was thick and strange, like holding your breath underwater. Then, as suddenly as it began, the rain stopped. The little circle of wet ground faded into dry dust once again. Silence. Only the heat remained. Henry stared at his hands, trembling. Something inside him felt awake. He didn't remember walking back inside. He didn't remember picking up his bag. He barely heard Mama Siasa calling his name. All he could think about was the impossible small rainfall that had fallen on him alone. That night, he lay on his mattress, staring at the ceiling fan spinning lazily. Sleep refused to come. His grandma's voice echoed in his mind. Sometimes rain day listen. He swallowed hard. Did the rain listen to him? He wasn't ready for the answer.
But the sky was.
Mama Asias's secret. Henry woke before sunrise. He didn't sleep much. His dreams were full of water, rain pouring in circles, thunder whispering his name, clouds moving like living things. He sat up slowly. The compound was quiet. No generators humming. No birds yet. Just the soft blue darkness of early morning. Henry washed his face and stepped outside. The air was cool, unusually cool for Harmattan. Mama Siosasa was already awake, sitting on her stool, peeling yam. The kerosene lantern beside her cast a warm glow across her wrinkled but gentle face. She didn't look surprised to see him. "Henry," she said softly. Come. He froze. The way she said his name, not rushed, not casual, made his chest tighten. He walked over and sat beside her. Mama Asiasa didn't speak immediately. She finished peeling the yam slowly, placed it in a bowl, wiped her hands on her wrapper, and then turned to him with eyes that seemed older. Older than she looked. Older than the house. Older than the Iroko tree itself. Something happened yesterday, she said. It wasn't a question. Henry's heartbeat thumped in his ears. He swallowed. I don't know what it was. Rain fell, she said calmly. Where only you day. Henry's eyes widened. His mouth went dry. How did you know? He whispered. She gave a small, sad smile. My pickin'! Rain way fall without cloud. I felt it. Rainmakers always feel it. Henry's breath caught. Rainmakers. Mama Asiasa nodded slowly, like someone carrying a memory too heavy to drop. Your great-grandfather was one of them. Omonosa! Omorehi! The last recognized rainmaker of our family. People used to travel from villages far away to beg him to bring rain for their crops. Or stop storms from destroying their homes. Henry blinked, struggling to imagine it. A man standing under the sky, talking to clouds. Mama continued, but after some years, people stopped believing. The world changed, churches gray, traditions faded. And he kept his gift secret before he passed. Henry stared at the ground. So, the power skipped generations. Not skipped. She touched his chest gently. It was sleeping inside you, waiting. Henry's throat tightened. His voice was small. Why me? She looked at him carefully. Because your heart is soft. Soft hearts speak loudest to the sky. For a moment, neither of them spoke. The lantern flickered. Far in the distance, a rooster crowed. Henry finally whispered, Grandma. I didn't try to call it. The rain just came. Mama Asiasa nodded knowingly. Rainmakers don't call rain with mouth. They call it with emotion. Henry frowned. Emotion! Rain listens to your heart, your fear, your joy, your anger. Your pain. That's why the first rain came when you were tired and frustrated. Henry remembered clearly. He had whispered for rain because he was hot and annoyed. Mama? Asiasa continued. But Henry? Rainmaking is not just power. It is responsibility. Her face grew serious. The air felt heavier. There are rules. Henry swallowed. What rules? She took a deep breath. Rule number 1. Never call rain when you are angry, or you will summon a storm you cannot control. Henry's stomach tightened with fear. Rule number 2. Never use rain to punish others. Rain is not a weapon. It is a blessing. He nodded slowly. Rule number 3, she said quietly. And the most important, she placed a trembling hand on his cheek. Do not reveal your gift to anyone. The world fears what it does not understand. Thunder rumbled far away, soft, distant, like a warning. Henry shivered. The sky shouldn't be rumbling during Harmattan. Mama! Asiasa stood up, her wrapper swaying. Stand! Henry! He did. She lifted his chin. You are the Rainmaker's son, and from today, your training begins. Henry's eyes widened. Training? But Mama Asiasa didn't answer with words. She simply turned, walked toward the backyard, and said, Follow me! Henry's heart pounded as he stepped after her. The sky above them slowly darkened. No clouds, no wind, just a strange heaviness settling over the morning, as if the sky itself knew. A new Rainmaker was waking up. Rain listens to emotion. Henry thought training would be something dramatic, chanting, rituals, maybe calling thunder like in Nollywood movies. But Mama Asiasa surprised him. Training started with silence. She brought him to the backyard early in the morning, where mist rolled gently across the compound like lazy spirits waking from sleep. Sit, she said. Henry sat cross-legged on the ground. Close your eyes. He did. Breathe. He tried. The air smelled of dew, clay, and the faint scent of palm trees, but his mind wasn't calm. It was loud memories of the strange rainfall, fear of what he was becoming, excitement mixed with confusion. After several minutes, Mama Isiasa said softly, "When your heart is scattered, the rain will scatter. When your mind is calm, the rain will obey." Henry opened his eyes. "So, this is like meditation." She shrugged. "Call AM anything you like, but this is where the real training starts." TheFirstLesson.com makes drizzle for days. Mama Isiasa made him sit under the Iroko tree and breathe. Slow, deep, repeated. At first, nothing happened, but on the fourth morning, something shifted. As Henry inhaled, a coolness touched the air. When he exhaled, a soft, gentle mist formed above his palms, tiny droplets glowing in the early sunlight like newborn pearls. His eyes widened. "Grandma! Look!" Mama Isiasa smiled. "Na small drizzly. First sign that you day control yourself." Henry grinned so wide his cheeks hurt. But he didn't know that controlling the mist was one thing. Controlling storms was another. School troubled the next week at school. Things went wrong. It started like a normal day noise everywhere. The smell of chalk dust, students shouting across the classroom, chairs scraping loudly. Henry sat quietly at his desk, trying to focus on his math notes. But trouble came to him anyway. 3 boys from SS1 walked past his desk, big boys who liked acting like they owned the school. One of them, a tall boy with a shaved head, snatched Henry's pencil. "Small boy, borrow us pencil na," the boy mocked. Henry reached for it. "Give it back," Abigail laughed. "Oh, what? You go cry, Rain?" Henry froze. That word rain hit him deeply. Even though they were joking, it felt too close. One boy snapped Henry's pencil in half and dropped it on the floor. Something inside Henry heated up. Anger, frustration, shame. His heartbeat pounded, and the sky responded. Clouds gathered so fast the classroom darkened. A cold wind pushed through the open windows. Students stopped talking. "Ah, why everywhere dark?" someone asked. Another voice, "Rain one fall for dry season." Henry gripped his desk, breathing hard. He could feel it, the storm building inside him like a drum being hit again and again. Lightning flickered outside. "Henry," a classmate whispered. "Are you okay?" He wasn't. The bullies looked nervous now. "Guy, let's bounce," one muttered, but Henry couldn't calm down. The sky growled, a deep, angry thunder that shook the windows. Students started screaming. Teachers ran to close windows. "Thunderstorm! For Harmattan!" Mr. Igbenedian shouted. Henry's breathing became rough, unstable. His anger was feeding the sky. The storm was climbing toward a dangerous peak. If it broke loose, lightning could hit the school. He squeezed his eyes shut. No, 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 no. No, he imagined his grandmother's voice. "Rain listens to your heart. If your heart scatter, rain go scatter." Henry inhaled sharply. He forced himself to remember. The Iroko tree, the calm morning mist, the peace of breathing slowly. In, out, in, out. The storm hesitated. He slowed his breathing. The clouds soft, the sky brightened. The wind calmed. And then the storm disappeared. Just like that. The class was silent. Someone whispered, "What kind of weather is this?" Another student said, "Nah, witchcraft." Henry lowered his head, shaking. He couldn't stay here. He grabbed his bag and ran out of the classroom before anyone stopped him. Back home, he sprinted all the way home, chest burning, throat dry, sweat dripping. Mama Isiasa was sweeping the compound. She turned before he even reached her. She had felt it the storm spike. "Henry," she said in a low voice, "your heart almost called disaster." Henry collapsed onto the stool, breathing hard. I didn't mean to. They made me angry." Mama Isiasa sat beside him. "You think Rain cares? Who made you angry?" she asked quietly. "Rain only knows what your heart feels." Henry covered his face with his hands. Grandma, I could have hurt people. I don't want this power anymore. She pulled his hands down gently. My Pekin! Rainmakers don't choose the sky. The sky chooses them. Henry looked up, eyes wet. Why me? She smiled sadly. Because storms listen to you, even when you don't mean to speak. Henry didn't feel like that was a blessing, but Mama's voice grew firm. From today, we train harder. Before this power grows faster than you. A distant rumble rolled across the horizon, soft, almost like approval. The sky wasn't done with Henry. Not even close. The first test the next morning, the sky felt wrong. Not stormy. Not rainy who's watching. Henry could feel it the way someone feels eyes on their back. A strange heaviness hung in the air, even though the weather looked perfectly clear. Mama! Esiasa noticed it too. While she washed vegetables beside the outdoor tap, she paused and glanced upward. Today go test you, she murmured. Henry stiffened. Test me how? She didn't answer. She didn't need to. Something was coming. A sky that breathes by late afternoon. The air grew thick and humid, the kind of humidity that didn't belong in Harmattan season. Children playing football on the street slowed down as they noticed the odd sky. The lizards crawled out from under rocks and stared upward. Even the goats nearby bleated nervously. Henry stepped outside the compound and scanned the sky. A single cloud, dark, heavy, swollen, drifted above Benin City like something alive. It wasn't moving naturally. It wasn't moving with the wind. It was moving against it. Toward him. His chest tightened. Grandma, he called, voice shaky. Mama Sasasa walked out slowly, wiping her hands on her wrapper. When she saw the cloud, her eyes narrowed.
Ah, so it's time. Henry felt sweat prick his forehead. Time for what?
For you to control rain that you did not call. The cloud thickened, expanded, rolled into itself like a giant, dark beast waking up. A crack of distant thunder shook the air. Henry flinched. I'm not ready. No rainmaker is ever ready, Mama Siasa said calmly. But storm no day wait for readiness. Wind picked up, blowing dust into swirling circles. Mothers hurried children inside. Kerosene lamps were lit early. Phone torches flickered on. The neighborhood began to panic. Henry's pulse thundered in his ears. What if I can't stop it? Mama turned to him with a steady, firm gaze. You must try. If you don't, the storm go wreck the whole area. Thunder cracked again, closer this time. Henry swallowed hard. His first real test was here. The storm arrives. The cloud hovered right over the compound. Darkness swallowed the sky like someone had switched off the sun. A blast of cold wind slammed into the houses, shaking zinc roofing like rattling drums. Rain poured suddenly. Sheets of water, heavy, violent, pounding the earth with furious speed. Lightning flashed so bright it turned everything white for a moment. Henry stumbled back. This is too big! Mama Isiasa didn't flinch. Storms are like people, she said. Talk to it with your heart. Henry tried to breathe, but the storm was too wild. His clothes were drenched within seconds, sticking to his skin. The wind felt like it wanted to lift him off the ground.
Mama, I don't know how. Yes, you do. Her voice was firm.
Close your eyes. He did. Breathe in your fear. Breathe out your control. He inhaled deeply, rain slamming against his face like needles. He exhaled, trembling. Then Mama said something that hit him like lightning. Henry, the storm is not angry with you. The storm is afraid of itself. Henry's eyes opened. Afraid. He looked up at the massive cloud, at the lightning tearing through it like cracks in a giant pot, at the rain falling with the force of a breaking dam. This storm wasn't attacking. It was losing control. Just like he had at school, Henry slowly stepped forward into the storm. Rain pushed him back. Wind clawed at him. Thunder roared at him. He shouted over the chaos. Stop! Lightning flashed, but didn't strike. Please! Henry yelled. You're hurting people! His voice shook, but his heart was steady. He remembered the mist in his hands. The drizzle he had created, the calm he had summoned. He closed his eyes again. Calm heart, calm sky, Calm heart, calm sky. The storm hesitated. The wind slowed. The rain softened. The thunder changed from angry to confused. Henry took another step. "You don't have to be violent," he whispered. "Just breathe." He inhaled deeply and exhaled slowly. The storm cupped him. The clouds lightened. The lightning faded. The rain weakened from a raging flood to a gentle downpour, then to a soft patter. Finally, silence. The sky cleared, showing faint golden sunlight breaking through. Henry collapsed to his knees, gasping for air. His entire body shook with exhaustion. Mama Asiesa rushed to him, holding him up with surprising strength. "You did well," she whispered. Henry's breath quivered. "I thought it would kill me." She stroked his head gently. "You didn't fight the storm," she said. "You healed it." Henry looked up at the clearing sky, stunned. He hadn't defeated the storm. He had calmed it, the way he wished someone had calmed him when he got angry. The test was over, but the sky was far from done with him. The thing in the shadows. Henry couldn't stop thinking about what the whispering baobab had shown him. Ever since that morning, flashes of the vision kept coming back. The dark clouds, the cracking earth, the creature with glowing red eyes rising from the forest like it was born from smoke. Henry didn't understand it. He didn't want to understand it, but the vision had carved itself into his mind, refusing to fade. That evening, as the sun dipped low behind the houses and the air turned orange, Henry sat at the small table in the living room. His mother hummed softly as she cooked stew, and the smell of tomatoes, pepper, and onions filled the room. But even that comforting smell couldn't relax him. Henry kept glancing at the window because for the past 10 minutes he had felt like something was watching him. He tried to ignore it. He opened his exercise book, pretending to do homework. He tried not to think of monsters. He tried not to think of the voice. Then, tap. Henry froze. The sound came from the window. His mother didn't hear it. She was stirring the pot loudly. Tap, tap! Henry slowly lifted his head. The curtains fluttered softly, though the windows were closed. Outside, the sky was darkening fast, almost too fast. Then they saw Italiano. A shadow moved past the window. Not a person. Not an animal. Something taller, thinner, and wrong, like a stretched figure sliding along the wall of the house. Henry's breath caught in his throat. He stood up quietly, moving towards the window one tiny step at a time. But before he got close, the shadow stopped, as if it sensed him. It turned, and a faint, glowing red point's eyes peered in through the glass. Henry stumbled back so fast he hit the table. "Henry, what happened?" his mother asked from the kitchen. He opened his mouth to speak, but the red eyes vanished, swallowed by the darkness outside. "Nothing, Mummy," he said shakily. I just tripped." She nodded and went back to cooking. Henry's heart beat so hard he thought his chest would burst. He wiped the sweat from his forehead and peeked through the curtain again. Nothing, but something inside him whispered, "It found you." A sudden knock at the door made Henry jump again, but this time it wasn't the creature. "Henry." A familiar voice called, "Come outside." It was Oz, his best friend. Henry almost collapsed with relief. He opened the door and stepped out, but the moment he stood outside, the warm air around him shifted, turning cold for just a second, and he saw them. Footprints! Large, deep footprints pressed into the dirt beside his house, leading into the bushes. Fresh ones. Henry swallowed hard. "Henry, what's wrong?" Oz asked. Henry looked at the bushes, then at the footprints, then at his friend. "Oz," he whispered, voice trembling. "There's something out here, searching for me." The night the forest answered, Henry didn't want to follow the footprints. Every part of him wanted to run back inside, lock the door, and pretend nothing existed beyond his mother's warm kitchen and the smell of stew. But Oz was here now, and Oz, of course, noticed the footprints too. "Guy, what made that?" Oz whispered. Henry didn't answer. He stared at the prints, each one huge and shaped strangely, like the foot of something not quite human. The edges were sharp, the middle deep, as if whatever stepped there carried incredible weight. Oz swallowed. You're not planning to go into the bush, Abby. Henry's voice was barely a whisper. No, but something wants me to. Before Oz could ask more, the wind changed. A cold, unnatural breeze brushed against them so cold Henry shivered instantly. The trees at the edge of the bush rustled, but not like trees moved by normal wind. These leaves shook violently, as if something inside the forest moved past them. Oz took one slow step backward. Henry, let's go inside your house. Please? But Henry didn't move. His feet felt rooted to the ground, like something was pulling him from the inside. The same tug that pulled him to the bayou, the same tug he felt in the vision. The disaster was coming closer. Suddenly, a tree branch snapped loudly deeper in the forest. Birds exploded into the sky, screeching. Henry and Oz both jumped. Then a new sound rose from within the trees, a low, rumbling growl that didn't sound like any animal Henry knew. Oz grabbed his arm. Let's go! But before they could move, the bushes in front of them parted. Not by wind, not by animal. By force, a dark figure rushed through, fast, silent, and huge. Henry couldn't see its full shape, only a blur of blackness and two glowing red eyes slicing through the dark. It was coming straight toward them. Run, Henry shouted. Both boys sprinted, sand flying under their slippers. Oz was screaming. Henry didn't look back, but he could feel the creature behind them, its footsteps shaking the ground. They reached the road, breathless and terrified. People were around neighbors carrying buckets of water. A man cycling past, children chasing each other. But none of them reacted. None of them turned. None of them seemed to hear the crashing footsteps Henry and Oz heard clearly. Henry realized something horrifying. They couldn't see the creature. Only a could.
The growling grew louder behind him.
Henry stumbled and fell to his knees. The creature burst from the shadows, but before it could reach him, something else moved. A bright light flashed from the sky, not lightning, but a warm, golden glow that descended gently like falling dust. The creature hissed and recoiled, retreating into the darkness of the bushes, its red eyes fading. Henry looked up. The light swirled and formed a shape, a faint outline of a tall figure, shimmering like heat above asphalt. A voice spoke, calm and powerful. Henry, the time has come for you to know the truth. Henry's heart pounded. Oz stared, mouth wide open. The glowing figure reached out a hand. The night air went silent. You have a destiny tied to the ancient spirits of this land. And that creature, you must face it. Sue. Henry's voice shook. Why me? The golden figure's eyes glowed brighter. Because, Henry, you are the one born with the mark of the Guardian. The Stormcaller the next morning. The sky over Benin City was unusually restless. Even before the sun had fully risen, the wind had begun whispering through the streets, rattling zinc roofs and tossing scraps of paper across the dusty roads. The air smelled sharp, like ozone and wet soil, though no rain had yet fallen. Henry could feel it before he even saw anything. A presence, heavy, dark. Something that made the hairs on his arms stand on end. He wasn't alone. The stranger appears by mid-morning. Rumors spread quickly through the neighborhood. A tall man had arrived in the city, wearing a dark cloak that seemed to ripple with the wind itself. He carried no bag, no visible weapon, but people gave him wide berth. Children hid behind their mothers' legs. Even the street hawkers paused, staring with unease. Henry spotted him from the roof of his house. The man stood in the market square, staring up at the sky, and where his gaze touched, the clouds above darkened, rolling unnaturally, forming a massive black spiral. Henry's stomach dropped. That is no ordinary person, he thought. He had seen storms bend before, but never like this. The man lifted his hands. Lightning flickered across the sky, dancing dangerously close to the roofs of buildings. Screams echoed from the market as terrified people scattered. Henry's heart raced. He knew immediately, this man can control storms. He's like me. But stranger. A lesson in fear. Mama Asiasa had sensed it too. When Henry ran to her rooftop, she was already there, wrapping her wrapper tightly around her shoulders. Henry, she said, eyes sharp. This is Ikpamosida, most powerful rainmaker of our time. He was thought lost. But he lives, and he has returned to claim power over the skies. Henry's eyes widened. Claim power over all the city. She nodded grimly. Yes, and he is dangerous. He will not stop at Benin City. If you do not learn fast, if you cannot control yourself, you will be powerless against him. Henry swallowed hard. His stomach felt hollow. He had only begun to control gentle drizzle, maybe a small thunderstorm. And this Ikpan Mosu was bending lightning like it was made of clay. The first confrontation by noon, Ikpan Mosa had moved closer to the riverfront. Clouds churned violently above him. Rain and wind lashed the streets, sending people running for cover. Trees bent as if they were about to snap. Henry stepped onto the rooftop, heart hammering, and lifted his hands instinctively. He could feel the sky answering him, his small circle of calm around him, but it was nothing compared to the storm this man commanded. Lightning cracked dangerously close. A bolt hit a nearby palm tree, splintering it in half. Henry flinched. "Who are you?" A deep, commanding voice called from below. Henry realized the man wasn't looking at anyone else. He was looking at him. "Henry!" he shouted over the wind. I don't want trouble!" Ikpan Mosa laughed, a sound that rumbled like thunder itself. "Trouble!" he said. "Child, you are a storm yourself, and I am here to teach you or destroy you." Henry's heart thumped. He had never felt fear like this. Not from broken windows, not from angry bullies, not even from the strange creature in the forest. This man radiated power. And worse, the sky obeyed him. A glimpse of power, Ikpan Mosa lifted his arms. The storm twisted, forming a towering spiral of black clouds above him. Lightning shot in arcs like whips. Rain pelted the streets with the force of hammers. Henry raised his hands instinctively, summoning every ounce of calm he could muster. A small circle of protection formed around him, enough to keep him dry, enough to make him feel the sky as pulse, but it was nothing compared to the tornado forming above the market. "You are strong," Ikpan Mosa said, voice booming, "but not yet ready. Learn fast or be swept away." And with that, he disappeared in a flash of lightning.
The storm followed him, leaving Henry in silence once more, his heart racing, his hands trembling.
And the knowledge deep in his chest, the real test has begun. The flood of Benin, the city woke to an uneasy sky. Dark clouds rolled across Benin City like an invading army. Birds screamed and scattered, goats bleated in panic, and vendors hurried to secure their stalls. The air smelled of wet earth, ozone, and something heavy, dangerous, alive. Henry felt it immediately. Ikpan Mosa is near! The boy ran to the rooftop of his home, scanning the horizon. The river beyond the city had risen unnaturally, its surface churning with violent waves. Trees bent under the wind. Lightning danced over the skyline. The storm was enormous, far larger than anything Henry had ever summoned, even in his imagination. Mama Esiasa stood beside him, her expression grave. "This is it," she said. "He's summoning the flood. Henry, you must stop him!" Henry's stomach tightened. I've never controlled a storm this big." "You can," Mama Esiasa said firmly. "Your heart will guide you. The storm will listen if you keep control." Henry swallowed, his hands trembling. He had faced the first test before, but this was different. This was not a local rainstorm. This was a weapon on entire city under the command of a single man. The streets began to flood by mid-morning. The streets were turning into rivers. Water gushed through Market Road, carrying crates of tomatoes, baskets of yams, and frightened children who had wandered too close. Sellers tried desperately to move their goods. Cars stalled in deep water. Dogs barked frantically, pulling on their leashes. Henry sprinted down from the rooftop, moving toward the riverfront. Each step was heavy with dread, his sandals squelching in the rising water. He reached the edge of the river. The waves crashed like the sea. Lightning forked the sky, illuminating the terrifying figure of Ikpan Mosa standing at the center of the flooded road. The man lifted his arms. Rain fell like sheets of iron. Thunder ripped the air. Henry Ikpan Mosa's voice boomed, echoing across the water. Do you see the power you could have? Join me, and we can rule the skies together. Henry shook his head. No, the sky is not yours to rule. Henry faces the flood. Henry lifted his hands instinctively. He focused on his heart, remembering his grandmother's lessons. Calm heart. Calm sky. Calm heart. Calm sky. The wind whipped around him, trying to knock him down. Water surged at his feet. Lightning struck dangerously close. He could feel the storm resisting him, clawing at his mind, threatening to overwhelm him. But he pictured the people of Benin Siditha, children, the market women, the old men selling gari on the roadside. He pictured Mama AC. He pictured the Iroko tree and the gentle morning mist. Slowly, the storm listened. A small circle of calm formed around him. Rain softened there. Waves paused as if listening to his heartbeat. Henry clenched his teeth and pushed further, sending his calm outward, trying to stretch it across the city. The battle of rain and thunder lightning struck Ikponwasa's cloak, and he laughed, raising his hands higher. The waves rose again. Rain pounded with renewed fury. Henry felt panic creeping in. If he lost control, the city would drown. He closed his eyes and concentrated harder than ever before. Calm, calm. Please, calm, he whispered, and then something inside him clicked. The storm began to respond. The waves softened. The wind bent but no longer lashed. The rain slowed to a drumming patter. Henry opened his eyes. He saw Ikponmosa's face shift from amusement to shock. You, the man shouted, voice cracking with disbelief. Henry's heart filled with a courage he hadn't known he possessed. I am not afraid of you, he yelled. The clouds began to break. Sunlight pierced through in golden beams. Water receded from the streets. Market stalls survived. Children cheered, splashing in shallow puddles. Ikponmosa staggered backward, his cloak flapping in the dying wind. Henry raised his hands one last time, commanding the storm to retreat completely. The clouds dispersed, the river calmed, and the city breathed again. Aftermath, Henry sank to his knees, soaked and shaking. Mama Isiasa rushed to him, holding him tightly. You did it, Henry, she said, voice thick with pride and relief. Henry's chest heaved. I thought I was going to fail. I thought everyone would drown. You almost did, Mama Isiasa said quietly. But you'll learn something today. The sky listens to your heart, and your heart is stronger than fear. Far on the horizon, Henry saw Ikponwasa vanish into a flash of lightning. The man was gone. For now. But Henry knew deep inside, this battle was far from over, and the storm would rise again, hot of the rain. The sun had set hours ago, but Benin City was far from asleep. The streets glistened with puddles reflecting the fractured moonlight. The air smelled of wet earth, ozone, and electricity, still charged from the last storm. Henry stood atop the highest rooftop he could reach, wind tugging at his drenched clothes. The city sprawled below him, silent and watching. Somewhere in the distance, lightning forked across the horizon, announcing that Ikponwasa had returned. Henry clenched his fists, feeling the storm stirring inside him, calling to him. His grandmother's voice echoed in his mind. Calm heart, calm sky, calm heart, calm skyly. The sky world. Henry closed his eyes. He focused entirely on the storm, imagining it not as a threat, but as a living thing turbulent. Yes, but listening. Slowly, the world around him melted away. The streets disappeared. The buildings dissolved into mist. He opened his eyes and found himself in a new place. The sky above stretched into endless clouds, both dark and light, swirling with flashes of lightning below him. No ground existed, only a vast, glowing mist, like walking on air. And in the distance, he saw Ik. The man floated above the cloudscape, arms raised, cloak billowing like a dark flame. His eyes glowed red, and the storm around him pulsed with power. You are bold to follow me here, boy, Ikponwasa's voice boomed, echoing across the endless sky. You think you can stop me? Henry's voice trembled but carried determination. I will stop you. This storm isn't yours to control. A battle of hearts. Lightning cracked. Thunder rolled. The clouds swirled violently as if the sky itself had become a battlefield. Ikpan Mosa struck first. A bolt of lightning shot toward Henry, fast and precise. Henry raised his hands instinctively and pushed with all his will. The lightning curved around him, striking the clouds above instead. Impressive, Ikpan Mawasa sneered. But power without control is nothing. Henry remembered Mama Asias's lessons. Not just control, but emotion. The sky listens to your heart. He took a deep breath and let go of fear, anger, and doubt. He focused on courage, compassion, and calm. Slowly, the swirling storm above began to obey him. A soft glow of golden light radiated from his chest, spreading through his arms and into the clouds around him. The storm reacted. Lightning ceased its wild strikes. The thunder softened. The wind bent to Henry's will. Ikpan Mosa's eyes widened in disbelief. You can command the heart of the rain, he whispered. Henry squared his shoulders. I'm not alone, he said. The sky listens to all of us, not just one man. The final confrontation. Ikpan Mosa charged, attempting to strike with a massive bolt that split the clouds in two. Henry focused every ounce of calm and courage into his hands. The lightning collided midair, creating a blinding explosion of light and sound. For a moment, everything was chaos clouds screaming, thunder shaking, wind whipping in every direction. Then Henry reached deep into his heart, the part that loved the city, his grandmother, and his people. He let that love flow outward, touching every storm, every drop of rain, every crack of lightning. The explosion faded. The clouds stilled. The storm's fury vanished. Ikpan Mosa fell to his knees on the cloudscape, his cloak torn by the energy. You! How? He gasped. Henry stepped forward, steady and calm. You are not the master of the sky. The sky belongs to everyone, including those who respect it, he said. Ikpan Mosa lowered his head. Slowly, his red eyes dimmed. The storm surrounding him dissipated into soft, harmless rain falling gently across the clouds. You have learned what I could not, Ikpan Mosa said quietly. Perhaps there is hope for the next generation of rainmakers. And with that, he vanished, leaving only clouds and calm behind. Returned to Benin City. Henry opened his eyes. The rooftop beneath him was real again. The city slept peacefully below, bathed in the soft glow of the moonlight. The river no longer roared. Streets no longer flooded. It was soaked, exhausted, trembling but victorious. Mama Asiasa appeared beside him, silently. She touched his shoulder. You have done what no one thought possible, my pig. You have mastered not just the storm, but your heart? Henry looked up at the sky. For the first time, he didn't feel fear. He felt connection. The sky above Benin City stretched endlessly, calm, listening, waiting. Henry knew that his journey was only beginning. But one truth had settled in his chest. He was no longer just a boy. He was a rainmaker, and the city would never forget the name Henry Omer. The first light of dawn broke over Benin City. Golden rays stretched across rooftops, reflecting off puddles that shimmered like mirrors. The city, quiet now, seemed almost untouched by the storms of the previous days, but everyone knew the truth. Something extraordinary had occurred. Henry stood atop the highest rooftop he could reach, the wind gently brushing his face. He was no longer the frightened boy who had first felt the tug of the Baobab Hill. He was steady, calm, and aware of the power that pulsed inside him. Mama Asiasa appeared beside him, carrying a small cup of warm tea. She handed it to him with a proud smile. Drink, she said. The storm has passed. For now. But remember, Henry, a true rainmaker respects the balance of the sky. Henry nodded, sipping the tea. The warmth spread through him, grounding him. A city saved. Below, the streets were alive again.
Children laughed, chasing each other through shallow puddles.
Market women unpacked their produce, joking about the wild rains that had passed. Families emerged from their homes, cautiously at first, then with relief. Henry watched the people, feeling their presence connect him to the city. Each heartbeat below resonated with his own. He realized then that being a rainmaker was not about controlling the sky for power or glory. It was about care, about listening, protecting, and keeping the balance between nature and humanity. The whispering baobab calls again. After breakfast, Henry climbed old Baobab Hill once more. The ancient tree stood silently, its twisted branches reaching to the sky. Henry placed his hand on the trunk, feeling its warmth, its heartbeat the same one that had first called to him months ago. A soft whisper echoed in his mind. "Henry, you have learned well, but the sky always listens. Keep your heart steady." Henry smiled. "I will. I promise." And for the first time, the baobab seemed to hum with approval, leaves rustling like a gentle song, a rainmaker's gift. Henry knew that storms would come again, lightning would crack, thunder would roar. The sky would bend in ways only he could feel, but he also knew that he was ready. No longer a boy who feared his own heart. He was the boy who could calm storms, who could bring rain or gentle mist, who could protect his city. Mama Asiasa joined him atop the hill. "Your father would be proud," she said softly. Henry looked out over the city, the wind tugging playfully at his clothes. "I know," he whispered, "and I'll make sure everyone sees."
The sky listens to us all. A soft rain began to fall, not heavy.
Not violent, just gentle drops that kissed the rooftops and streets. It was the city's first blessing after the chaos. Henry lifted his hands, letting the rain flow through him, feeling every droplet, every heartbeat of the sky. The clouds parted, revealing a golden sun that warmed the city below. Henry laughed a light, free sound that carried across the hill. He was no longer just a boy. He was Henry O'Marigi, the rainmaker's son, the boy who commands the sky. And the world, at least Benin City, for now, would never be the same. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more amazing stories and adventures.